Let's go fishing. This is part one of a two-part series where my buddy Slob Catching and I fished in a tournament for catfish and carp. Starting off with casting both of my catfish rods out. Both of us had signed up to fish for carp and catfish in the tournament, but at this point I was targeting all catfish and he was targeting all carp. The tournament was a 24-hour tournament divided out between bank and boat anglers, carp or catfish anglers, and it was a total weight tournament, meaning catch as many pounds of carp or catfish as you can in 24 hours. Shout out to Outcast Cats and everyone else involved in the tournament for putting on a great event. And this was also my first tournament, so I had no clue what to expect. But as you see very early on, I had already snagged one of my lines. Not the best start to the day, but hey, like I said, my first tournament, so we're in it just to see what happens. So I'm just kind of working the line here, trying to figure out how I could get it unsnagged, because this was before I restocked on a bunch of catfish gear, so I only had limited supplies. And thankfully Slob Catching came over and tried to help me out, which was successful because I was able to get my rig back. And at this point it had been a few hours with no bites for myself, but Slob Catch was on a fish, so I ran over to help him out. And that's when we realized that he had actually caught a catfish on his carp rig. Good thing he entered for carp and catfish. But now he also had a first fish on the bank. Let's go. But if I recall correctly, he did not weigh this one out because he was really going for carp. Speaking of which, he had his first carp right here. I swear this dude gets on the carp. He knows the secrets. So we were just letting the carp try to tire itself out so we could get a net. Because as I learned today, what he was trying to teach me is that they'll see the net and take off running. So it's better to get them to tire themselves out so that way they go in the net easily. As you can see, I tried to dip the net in too early and the carp took off running again. Rookie mistake. But I was determined to help him land this fish, because while I was in it just to see what would happen, Slob Catching was in it to win it. Now it's also worth noting that this was a benefit tournament, with all proceeds going to help support Fisherman 4.0 in his battle with lung cancer. So I was definitely happy to be a part of this for my first tournament. So here you can see we're just kind of working the carp around, letting it tire itself out, and I was finally able to get the net down and scoop this carp up. Now for this we did get a weigh-in, because this was the major fish that Slob Catching was after. Today it started to turn out a lot better. This ended up being a decent sized carp. Let's go. And it took a while, but I finally had a bite on my catfish rod, so I went over to check it out. And it wasn't the normal big takedown that I was looking for, or that I'm used to, so I was a little hesitant to reel in just yet. But with the tip of the rod going up and down slightly, I decided to pick it up and check it out. Just kind of waiting to see if I could feel the fish on the other end, to which I did. Boom, fish on. This would be the first fish that I hooked up on for the day. Unsure of the size of this catfish, I decided to work it in cautiously, but it turned out to be a smaller catfish. So we got the fish out of the water, unhooked, and weighed in for a staggering 2 pounds. But hey, in my first tournament, I'll take it. It got me on the board. Stay tuned for part 2.